Hey Pittsburgh, what's good in your hood? Kiki Brown here, Pretty Kitty on your radio. It is time to find out what is good with one hood. So, if you just climbed from under a rock, you may have just gotten out. You probably know about one hood. You should know about one hood
Absolutely.
power, one hood media. You should know. If you don't know, now you know, or you're gonna find out. Uh, One Hood Media is a powerhouse organization. And I'm not even going to get into talking about it because I have someone who is very well qualified to do that himself. Farooq Al-Said is the director. Farooq Amin Al-Said, is that correct?
That's correct. That's the whole
Let me
name.
say it all. Let me give it all. He is the director of operations for One Hood Media. He's also an artist and he's an activist, and I think he's a weightlifter too. Because I always see him, and he just be like buffed, yo. So last time I saw you, Farouk, was in East Liberty, and
Okay.
One
Yeah.
Hood was doing something in East Liberty, and I was buying some sneakers.
Okay.
I was buying some sneakers, so I knew I was in the right spot. I was over at social status, and I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
getting
yeah.
some ticks. Yeah, and I still want my blue and white One Hood hoodie. I just want to put that out there. I just
You
want
know
my.
what the thing is? We don't have any blue and white one hoodies or one hoodie.
Well, I'm taking somebody's.
Yeah,
Yours are just series of miracles. I'm taking somebody's. I got to rock that blue and white. But
I got you. I'll get you something made up. I'll get you something made
I
up.
I appreciate it. Farouk, thank you so much for telling us what's good in your hood. First things first, for people who may not have heard about
Yeah.
One Hood Power or One Hood Media, just give us, tell us what it is and how it was formed.
Yeah, so One Hood Media was formed in 2006 before I got to Pittsburgh by Jasiri X and a lot of other brothers who were from the community of Pittsburgh who kind of came together as kind of like a means to combat community violence, right? That was kind of one of the things that the coalition of One Hood started as. Was just like, a lot of concerned citizens that were coming together under a like-minded cause. This series just actually walked into the room. Um, I'm doing an interview. Yeah, it's you just interrupted my interview. That's how that's One
Alima
Hood.
said,
That's
"What's up? It's family. What's
yeah,
good?"
Kiki said peace. So and One Hood Power is the 501c4 and allows us to do political work outside of One Hood Media. So One Hood Media is a 501c3, One Hood Power is a 501c4, and we are able to kind of just like, hit both sides of the world that we live in, you know what I mean, with both of these respective organizations.
So much goes on throughout the years. I mean, I can't even count how many incidences happen that are police related, violence, and the social justice piece that you all touch through activism, through your community service, through your podcast. Does it ever get challenging? Does it
Always.
ever become like, oh my God, like, is this ever gonna, you know what I mean? And how do you, as a member of One Hood, how do you strategize? How do you deal with it?
Yeah, to answer your first question, it's always daunting. Like it's always tiring, it's always exhausting because it's always something. You get me? Like it's always something happening. I
Mm-hmm.
know a lot of the times, like in the spaces we are in, we like chase fires, it seems like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that being said, it's not always glamorous, it's not always fun. I think a lot of people get this perception of One Hood just because we're always in the media, that we're always on camera, that we're always someplace doing something that is like it's fun, it's glamorous work. That's the furthest thing from the truth. It's work first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
We enjoy each other's company, which makes it easy, even though I got a couple gray hairs that popped up this year from Jasiri. Uh, you know what I mean? Him and one other person are responsible for my grays. But no, but like
Shout the
so how
miracle.
not Miracle. Yeah, no, not Miracle, but Large Up Miracle. Yeah, she kind of provides balance. But no, like part of that is just like what we all kind of signed up for, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're here for, and I think there's an aspect of selflessness that was tapped into from all of us to kind of be in this sphere, to kind of just like operate here in this community space. And how we kind of deal with it. Everybody has their methods, right? We were just talking about today, like we needed some time away this weekend, to just kind of recharge and replenish the,
Yeah.
the battery, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a meeting I went to last night, Citizen Police Academy, and Leon Ford was speaking, and he was giving his story. And it's such a touching story. If you don't know who Leon Ford is, you should Google him, and then get invested in
Mhm.
his story. But he talked about the process when he first started, that he was angry, and he was against, and then he realized that he needed to kind of backtrack and figure out, as an entrepreneur, as a business person, in order to bring the solution or justice to our community who wants it so bad, what about collaborating and working with? Do you find One Hood has that same um, scope, mindset, and saying we can cover more if we work together more? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
One Hood is a collective of socially conscious artists and activists,
Okay.
right? It's kind of like in our DNA to be collaborative.
Mhm.
Black people aren't monolithic, right? Within our communities, we all have different socio-political views. We all come from different economic backgrounds. You know,
Mhm.
blackness is universal, but our experiences aren't. So
Mhm.
we try to be at as many tables as possible, and we try
Yeah.
to be as inclusive as possible for the community with all of our events,
Mhm.
with the understanding that we might not always agree on everything,
Mhm.
right? We might not always share the same ideals, we might not even share the same theological standpoints,
Mhm.
but we understand that, you know, us as One Hood Media, like, our objective is to build liberated communities for all people, but we
Mhm.
start within the community that we live in, that we represent first,
Mhm.
and we open that door to anybody that, you know, is in the city, in our community.
Congratulations, One Hood Media being recognized as Pittsburgh Cultural Treasures in their
Thank you.
initiative with the Heinz Endowment, Poise Foundation, and the Ford Foundation. This is big. This is you are a Pittsburgh treasure. So is that
That's
is that
wild to think
heavy? Is that
about.
a lot for you though? Is that like, whoa, we gotta, is that
It's
pressure?
I mean, it's super dope, man. You know,
Yeah.
I always like to say personally, I know everybody at the organization shares the sentiment. We exist because we're a community organization,
Mhm.
right? We do it's a very reductive way of looking at it, but it's a very active way of looking at it, is that we do community service, right?
Mhm.
We do direct service, and we're here because we all live in the city of Pittsburgh, right? We
Mhm.
all work, our issues are Pittsburgh issues. And if the city's not indicative of an inclusivity place, a place that's, you know, stronger than hate, how do we change that? How do we transform that? And to be identified as a treasure within the city, man, it's dope, man. It's a
That's
very
big.
humbling experience. I know us as black people, we are diamonds in the rough in the city of Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
right? It's a shrinking population of us. You know, we don't always feel like we get the credit that we deserve. We don't
Mhm.
always feel like, you know, the community is represented and championed in the way that it should be historically. So that is just like, you know, it's a super dope feather in the hat, man. Alhamdulillah, we got that. And it just let us know that, like, you know, the work that we're doing is recognized, but we still got a lot more to do.
I'm glad you brought that up, Farooq, because this past summer, I don't even know if that's called East Liberty anymore. I don't know if it's Garfield. I can't tell by Target. I
Yeah.
don't know what it's Garfunkel, whatever the neighborhood is.
Garfunkel.
I was I was talking to Jasiri. You guys were out and you had the food trucks out, and
Mhm.
Jasiri said, there was kids are in the playground playing, and they're playing their music, and they're just being kids, they're being young people, but the neighbors don't quite accept that, or they'll call the police, and then there's a situation where One Hood stepped in and was like, nah, everything is good. We're here to
Yeah.
protect them, and we're here to protect the neighborhood. What other and you may have touched on it, but just in case someone missed it, what other resources or programs does One Hood provide for the community and for the youth? I know that there's arts. I know that you have community public service events and stuff like that. But what other platforms or resources do you all provide?
I think the one that you're talking about in question was we keep us safe, like Fridays on deck, when we were at the park, right? We were
Yep,
doing
that was
that
it.
all summer. That was just an initiative that kind of came out about something that was brought to our attention, and we just happened to have, you know, the resources and like a collective agreement
Mm-hmm.
organizationally that we all wanted to be a part of, keeping our community safe and inclusive for us while we still
Yep.
live there.
Yeah.
A lot of the programs that we have right now are arts and education based, right? Things that are welcoming the artist about how to become a self-sustaining artist, how to become more knowledgeable and proficient at your craft, how to get engaged civically, and making it very accessible and easily and easily transferable to other mediums that you might practice, right? We're all artists at One Hood, right? That's the number one thing. First and foremost, we're all artists. You know, we're all creatives, so we want to be able to share that the things that we all can do professionally with people who are aspiring to get to that level. You see Jasiri in a lot of mediums globally, right? You see myself in a lot of mediums. We all kind of occupy these spaces that our art took us there first. And the way that we practice our art and perform it is with a socially conscious narrative, but we just happen to figure out a way to make our creation our profession. And we like to teach that to young people, and people really of all ages, but we really specialize like with you know, kind of like that adolescent age. You get me? Like 15 or like, you know, like
The
middle
most
teen,
vulnerable.
youth. Yeah. People, you know, are youth that are most impacted from the lack of resources in the city.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about you.
I love talking about me. Let's talk about me.
Let's talk about you, fam.
My favorite
I'm hearing
subject.
that I'm here. You got a album out. Like we got tour dates. What's good? Like,
Rap album of the year, man. Revolutionary but
okay,
gorgeous on all digital streaming platforms. Yeah.
okay,
Tour, no, not anything yet. Probably won't do a
okay.
tour, but we'll, you know, there'll be some performances and some things, some visual pieces curated around the project. It came out on my birthday almost a month ago on the 16th of September. And you know, it's been, alhamdulillah, it's been received extremely well. Which I wasn't expecting because it was just kind of like something I just wanted to get off my chest. But yeah, so the album Revolutionary but Gorgeous, on all digital streaming platforms. It's a take on honesty and Black male mental health in like a very unique and honest way, that only I could do.
I like it because
Yeah.
no one will no you won't understand it any other way. If you put it to music, if you put it to poetry, if it's something that can speak to the heart and speak to the soul, I think it's well received that way. You know, we just can't be talked at, we need to be talked to. And I think
Yeah.
that I think you touched on mental health, and that is an amazing way to at least provide some type of solution. So
Yeah,
thank
but
you.
you know, yeah, the creation of the project came from like a really dark period in my life. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I was going through a madness. And just so many things were happening, and this is before I had started going to therapy. And my only outlet that I had always known was music. Like and like you said earlier, like I either go to the gym or I would just write it out, and it'd be one of the two ways. And it just like at that point, it just like it just wasn't enough. But
Yeah.
those are the processes that I had at that time.
Mhm.
And I was just creating a lot, and just a way to kind of like mitigate a lot of these like feelings of depression and everything like that. And it just kind of came together very cohesively, like with the soundscape, like sonically, everything was just like on it was topically where I was in this particular frame of my life. And I just put it out. And it was wild because I just got a message last night of someone who listens to the album and was like, yo, this is the honesty I needed to like help me with my mental health journey. So I appreciate you putting these feelings out here. You know what I mean? So it was dope. Like, and even if that's the only message I get of that specific nature,
You've done it.
that's a success for me.
That's good. Congratulations
Thank you.
on everything.
Thank you.
How can we reach One Hood? How can we volunteer? How can we donate? What do we need to do to get closer to One Hood?
We're really ubiquitous online, the number one hood media, on, you know, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, onehood.org, the number onehood.org, One Hood Power. You know, we're all really accessible. Just, you know, just tap in with us, man. You know, we're everywhere. We try to be in as many spaces as possible. If you see us, I might not necessarily be smiling, but that doesn't mean you can't come up and talk to me. You know,
He
we're
means
just
that. He means that.
yeah, I do most of the time, most of the time. But there are other people around me who are smiling and probably a lot easier to talk to at the time. But no, it's jokes. It's all
He's
jokes.
smiling.
I am smiling. But Yeah, just link us online, man. And also info.org. If you got questions, that's how you can do it.
That's what's up. Thank you so much. I will be in touch about my sweatshirt.
Okay. Okay.
I mean it. I mean it. So thank you so much. I appreciate you, Farooq, Jasiri, and Miracle, and the folks over there. Thank you for all that you are doing to keep Pittsburgh safer, and just thank you for everything. I applaud you. I appreciate you, and congratulations on being a Pittsburgh cultural treasure in the
Thank
city
you.
of Pittsburgh. Congratulations. Thanks for
Thank
telling
you.
us what's good in your hood.
Absolutely.